Biomed Nexus Daily Updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR Sangamo Therapeutics filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection and is preparing to auction substantially all of its assets according to Biospace. Eli Lilly and Astellas have emerged as stalking horse bidders for key programs, including a Fabry disease gene therapy that is currently being submitted for potential FDA approval. Lilly signed a strategic research collaboration with China's Abisko Therapeutics to discover and develop medicines across multiple targets, according to the pharma letter. This appears to be Lilly's 14th deal of 2026, adding another Chinese biotech partnership to a portfolio that already includes Hengrui via Kylera and Hisco. Insilico Medicine and South Korea's SK Biopharmaceuticals announced a 2.5B AI drug discovery partnership targeting neuroimmune disorders of the central nervous system, according to RTT News. Olin Biosciences raised $330 million oversubscribed Series B to fund global Phase 3 studies of OLN324 for retinal disease, according to the pharma letter. This is one of the largest ophthalmology-focused venture rounds in recent years. BIO International wraps today in San Diego. A panel featuring former FDA, CDC, and NIH leaders discussed what Biospace described as the dismantling of the Department of Health and Human Services and asked, U.S. public health as we know it is gone. Can we rebuild a better system? Executive takeaway: Sangamo's bankruptcy is the gene therapy story nobody wanted but everybody expected. The company pioneered zinc finger nuclease technology and built one of the earliest gene editing pipelines in the industry. But the commercial path never materialized. Cash ran out. And now the most valuable assets, including a Fabry disease gene therapy that is actively being submitted to the FDA, go to auction. The twist: Lilly and Astellas are already positioned as stalking horse bidders. For Lilly, this would be deal number 14 or 15, depending on how you count the Abisko collaboration announced the same day. Lilly has now assembled gene therapy capabilities from Colonia, lentiviral in vivo CAR-T, Orna, circular RNA in vivo CAR-T, Engage, non-viral DNA delivery, Profluent, AI recombinases, Acidian, RNA exon editing, and potentially Sangamo, zinc finger nuclease gene therapy. That is the broadest genetic medicine portfolio in pharma. Meanwhile, the Insilico SK 2.5B AI deal, targeting CNS neuroimmune disorders, is the latest mega deal in AI drug discovery, joining Isomorphic Labs, 2.7B total funding, Lilly, Profluent, 225B, and the Anthropic Pharma ecosystem. And the BIO panel's blunt assessment of U.S. public health infrastructure, with former agency heads speaking plainly about what has been lost, was the most talked about session of the convention. Read full analysis, top story, Sangamo files, Chapter 11 as Lilly and Astellas circle key gene therapy assets, SGMO. LLY Sangamo Therapeutics filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on June 23rd and is preparing to auction substantially all of its assets according to Biospace. Lilly and Astellas have emerged as stalking horse bidders for key programs. The most valuable asset is a Fabry disease gene therapy that is currently being submitted for potential FDA approval, making it one of the rare bankruptcy situations where an approvable drug is on the auction block. Biospace reported, as Sangamo runs out of cash, Eli Lilly and Astellas have emerged as stalking horse bidders for key assets, including a Fabry gene therapy currently being submitted for potential FDA approval. For Lilly, acquiring Sangamo's Fabry program would add zinc finger nuclease technology to a genetic medicine toolkit that already spans 6 other modalities. For Astellas, the Fabry program would fit its rare disease and gene therapy focus. The company recently won EU approval for Padcev in combination with Keytruda for bladder cancer. The bankruptcy auction process will determine which bidder prevails and at what price. Deals: Lilly signs another China deal with Astellas Therapeutics. Lilly entered a strategic research collaboration and license agreement with China's Astellas Therapeutics to collaborate on the discovery and development of innovative medicines across multiple targets, according to the pharma letter. Specific targets and financial terms were not disclosed. This adds to Lilly's growing China licensing portfolio alongside Hengrui via Kylera, obesity, Hisco, 3B+, 5 programs, and now Astellas. It appears to be Lilly's 14th announced deal of 2026. Insilico and SK Biopharmaceuticals launch 2.5B AI CNS partnership. Insilico Medicine and South Korea's SK Biopharmaceuticals announced a partnership worth more than 2.5B to discover AI-enabled drug candidates targeting neuroimmune disorders of the central nervous system, according to RTT News. Insilico's AI platform has attracted multiple pharma partnerships: Servier, 880, Sanofi, and others. The CNS neuroimmune focus is notable because the space has been historically difficult for drug development, but may benefit from AI's ability to identify novel targets and predict clinical outcomes in complex disease biology. Ophthalmology Olin Biosciences raises 330 meters for retinal. Disease Olin Biosciences raised 330 in an oversubscribed Series B to fund global Phase 3 studies of OLN324 for retinal disease, according to the pharma letter. Stat reported this is one of the largest ophthalmology-focused venture rounds in recent years. Retinal diseases, including age-related macular degeneration and diabetic retinopathy, represent multi-billion-dollar markets where anti-VEGF therapies, Regeneron's Eylea, Roche's Vabysmo, dominate but leave substantial room for improved efficacy, durability, and delivery. Policy Bio Panel: U.S. Public Health as we know it is gone. A bio-international panel featuring former leaders of the FDA, CDC, and NIH discussed what biospace described as the dismantling of the Department of Health and Human Services under the Trump administration, and asked whether a better system can be rebuilt. The session was reportedly the most attended policy discussion at the convention. The panel addressed the FDA leadership vacuum, no permanent commissioner, CDR director, or CBER director, the Ebola PHEIC response challenges, and the impact of agency staff departures on regulatory capacity. Former officials spoke plainly about institutional damage, while industry leaders raised concerns about regulatory predictability for drug development. Coming up, July 1st, Medicare GLP-1 Bridge Program launches, 6 days. July 31st, Section 232 pharma tariffs effective for large companies. Imminent, Revolution Medicines, CNPV NDA filing. Imminent, Lilly Foundayo, T2D filing under CNPV, August 27th. Capricor Duramiocel, PDUFA, Duchenne cell therapy. Red, full analysis, Biomed, Nexus. Pro, institutional intelligence brief, gene therapy, economics. What Sangamo tells us. Sangamo spent more than 2 decades developing zinc finger nuclease technology. The company raised billions in equity and partnerships. It generated no commercial revenue, and now its most valuable asset, a Fabry gene therapy nearing FDA filing, goes to auction in bankruptcy. The lesson is not that gene therapy does not work. Zolgensma, Novartis, SMA, Elevidys, Sarepta, Duchenne, Hemgenix, CSL, hemophilia B, and Otamine, Regeneron, hearing loss, all demonstrate clinical value. The lesson is that developing gene therapies requires a level of sustained capital commitment that most standalone biotechs cannot maintain. The development timelines are longer than small molecules. The manufacturing is more complex. The regulatory pathway is more uncertain, as Regenxbio's Duchenne safety signal and the AAV brain tumor case demonstrated. And the commercial model for one-time, curative therapies is still being figured out. Companies that succeeded in gene therapy either had large pharma backing, Novartis, Zolgensma, Regeneron, Otarmony, or achieved early commercial milestones, Sarepta, Elevidys. Sangamo had neither. The Bankruptcy is a cautionary tale for standalone gene therapy biotechs without a clear path to revenue or a deep-pocketed partner. Lilly's genetic medicine portfolio. If Lilly wins the Sangamo Fabry asset at auction, the company would have the broadest genetic medicine toolkit in the industry, modality source status lentiviral, in vivo CAR T colonia, 7b. Phase TUM 1 circular RNA in vivo CAR Torna, 2.4b, preclinical non-viral DNA, delivery, engage, undisclosed, preclinical AI designed recombinases, Profluent, 2.25b, preclinical RNA exon editing, Acidian, 1.9b, preclinical zinc finger nuclease, potential, Sangamo, auction, NDA, filing brain, shuttle technology BioArctic, undisclosed, preclinical. The logic genetic diseases are caused by mutations that can be corrected, silenced, or compensated at the DNA or RNA level. Each modality addresses a different type of mutation in a different way. By owning capabilities across the full spectrum, Lilly can match the right genetic medicine technology to the right disease. AI drug discovery, capital stack, updated, deal value focus, Isomorphic Labs 2.7b, total funding, protein design, AlphaFold, Insilico, SK, Biopharma 2.5 BCNS, neuroimmune disorders, Lilly, Profluent 2.10 BAI, gene editing, Insilico, Servier 888 Oncology, R&D Anthropic, Ecosystem 400 ME, Coefficient Bio, plus 5 pharma partners, broad drug development, AI Illinois LAM Inceptive, undisclosed RNAi sequence, optimization. Total disclosed AI drug discovery commitments now exceed 9 base. The Insilico SK deal adds CNS to a landscape that has been dominated by oncology and metabolic disease applications. Visit the Pro Hub read. Full article, is your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory? 2,104 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus signals, weekly sales intelligence for life sciences BD teams. Learn more